This is the Tuesday Morning Show with Meg and me.
Slow down, you move too fast. You got to make the morning last. Just kicking down the cobblestone, looking for fun and feeling groovy. Feeling groovy. Feeling groovy. Life I love you, always groovy.
Hi, gals, and good Tuesday morning to you. You know, today's a special day. We have just more hints than ever you've heard of on how to get a man through fashion or the lack of it. Just a good old turn-on.
And you know, Meg, we've got some brand new news about a hot food delivery on base, and a visit with Dear Abby, and of course, music. And now it's time for today's continuing story. Consider for a moment the spotless housekeeper.
She housekeeps most of the time, apportioning various chores to different days, as Tuesday morning is, of course, ironing morning. She calls this not letting the house get away from her, rather making it sound like a little nervous lie. In fact, the spotless housekeeper even housekeeps while she cooks. She can put dinner for 8 on the table, and you'd never know anything had been happening in the kitchen. But she loses out on a lot of good talk this way, and there's not much point to that. After all, you expect to see a few bodies lying around the battlefield. When you cook, you cook. And when you clean, you clean.
Sufficient unto the time is the evil thereof.
Now, in other areas, too, the spotless housekeeper behaves rather oddly. Now, I know one whose living room furniture will shortly be as many-layered as even an onion. She slip-covered her upholstery, which she felt was too pretty to sit on. But then, so were the slip covers, and she felt that she had to protect them with taut plastic casings. Now, she has discovered that a small cigarette spark makes a big hole in the plastic, and I don't know what she's going to cover the plastic with, but I'm sure she'll think of something.
Is housekeeping really just a cover-up job? Can a housewife do little and look neat? How can she keep her Brussels sprouts from falling? Tune in next time for the continuing story. Guy Rooney, it's Tuesday already, and today must be some kind of date. What's the day, the 21st?
21st.
Of October. Let's see, we're still in Libya, aren't we?
But fairly soon we're going to be moving on.
Gosh, we better find out what's going to happen to someone who happened to be born on October 21st.
Well, if you were born on the 21st, you are frank and outspoken. But you must not, repeat, must not permit your fortunate qualities to make you conceited and arrogant. Your love of ease should be kept under control. Now, you do have a charming personality, and it's much admired by the opposite sex. And you know, David, just mentioning that, we've never brought up any of these compatible and incompatible signs, especially Libra.
I see. So there are certain other
people that you must not associate with.
Oh.
Yeah,
right,
like a Virgo.
Like, for instance, like Virgo?
Like Virgo. Since we're Virgos, let's get the clue going on Virgos and Libras.
They don't fit together too well,
No, not too well.
Well, why not?
In fact, it's a pretty much no-go affair. Now, they say that everything might appear fairly well at first, while the sex novelty and so forth still possesses its shine, but when both land back on Earth and life is taken up with its good old cold routine, there's little chance that either of these two will change his basic qualities willingly. And really, David, if there's one thing that a Libra resents, it's criticism. And we know what a Virgo gives out most easily. And not only that, but the Virgo insists on perfection, while the old, easygoing Libra hates detail. So that's a pretty much no-go affair. So perhaps we'd better avoid Libras, or perhaps they'd better avoid us. Is that the story?
I think so. It worked out. That's too bad they say that.
I know, especially since my husband is the Libra. That is bad. That is bad.
Well, I tell you, who else is not or is compatible with
Well,
with it all?
Cancer is also not compatible, but about any other one is compatible. It's just Cancer and Libra.
It's still they have 10 months of people that they can associate with, so that's pretty good. There's all kinds of things happening around Wheelus, Meg. You just wouldn't believe all the busy that people can be these days. That tomorrow there's that mandatory pre-departure briefing at the MAC passenger terminal at 1 o'clock in the afternoon for all those people who are scheduled to depart for the States on Friday. And so if you're going back to the States on Friday, you must go to this briefing on Wednesday. This does not include dependents, however. This is all assigned military and civilian personnel. And for those of you who have arrived on the October 9th rotational aircraft, if you have not processed your family through military pay, you must do so today. The military pay is located, as we've said, in room 15 of the wing compound, and their hours for processing are 8 to 11 a.m. and 1 to 3 in the afternoon. The Tripoli craft is going to hold an important meeting today at 7:30 tonight. So those of you who belong to the Tripoli craft, make sure you do that. And let's see what's happening. Oh, there's a luncheon with the OWC too, Meg. The hospital and dental wives are sponsoring the luncheon, which is scheduled for Wednesday. There'll be a social hour at noon.
Oh, those are fun.
Aren't they? And the luncheon will start at 1 p.m. There's something else happening over at the office.
Oh, well, we've got a real special bit of news and news also.
Yes.
Did you know that there's going to be a hot food delivery service on base? Believe it or not. Pretty close to a Frisch's Big Boy, I'd say.
I heard something about it. What are the details?
Well, the officers' open mess kitchen will deliver hamburgers, cheeseburgers, fried chicken, and pizza. And it sounds pretty good. And it is good. And they'll deliver anywhere on base from 6 to 10 p.m.
What are we going to eat? What are we going to eat this morning?
This morning? Well, you have to worry about tonight's dinner. This could be the easy escape.
That's right.
You know, an anonymous phone call and an anonymous delivery, and suddenly you just have to take in the food. That's a good dinner idea.
Do they have special numbers you can call?
Yes, they do. It's 22228 or 66175. Now, write them down, gal. 2228 or 66175 for that good old hot food delivery.
And those numbers, of course, are in the phone book, too. I understand they're putting out a new phone book pretty soon. I talked to one of the operators, and she said they're going to put out a new phone book pretty soon.
I never got an old one.
You never did?
I never did.
Meg will make certain that you get a new phone book.
Thank you.
You can call all the new numbers. Let's see. Showing at the Sahara Theater tonight is a movie, a neat old war picture for all of those who are interested in those. This is the 1,000 plane raid.
Say it again?
Yes, it's a general film. The
General?
show times are 6:30 and 8:35, and so that's the thing. Tomorrow is a good movie, sort of. I mean, of that particular type, it's good. It's Hell in the Pacific, and it's about two guys on an island or something like that.
That should be good.
You were going to tell us about it
Marvin,
tomorrow,
I believe,
yeah. And Meg will let you in on all the neat details about that tomorrow, so you can go and see it tomorrow night. I am really getting good at this particular phrase, Meg.
You know
listen
any
to
more
me.
than that, David? Or is this the only phrase you know? Well, tell them what
This is the only phrase I know.
But you do it rather well.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum. No, it's assalamu alaikum. See, you have to emphasize the alaikum.
Keep that in mind.
Well, in any case, if you want to learn more than just one phrase, the Base Education Center plans to offer a group study course in spoken Arabic. I wonder if that's going to be a group study course like they have in California, where they all
David,
sit around in a
you're thinking
bath.
of group therapy.
Oh, I see.
But that might not be bad for a basic education course. No,
And
David.
it'd get really basic, wouldn't it? Let's see. The course is scheduled to begin October 28th. We're speaking about spoken Arabic still, you people. The course is scheduled to begin October 28th. It's a beginning course and will be taught on Tuesday and Thursday nights from 7 to 9. The course is 8 weeks long. For more information, you call 21201 or stop by the Base Education Center. That sounds like a pretty good idea. We've got some more music. This is kind of a fun song. The original version of it was done a long time ago by
What's
Percy
that?
Faith. The theme from A Summer Place
Oh, that's so romantic.
from the movie it was really wild. But we've got it now that has orchestra and chorus and everything in it.
And for a Tuesday morning. Oh, romance.
Everybody will go to sleep again?
No,
Tell
they
you,
won't. No, they
terrible.
won't. Beverly. David, you remember Troy Donahue? You
Well,
don't remember?
sure, I remember
Quite
him.
a heartthrob. In fact, it kind of introduces us to our subject today.
It does.
Like turn on? Well, actually, it's how chic can you get till you lose him. But that has pretty much to do with turn on. Now, what could be finer, David? I ask you, what could be finer than a crochet dress with a nude body stocking? Can you think of anything?
Not right this minute.
I didn't think you'd be able to. Really, it would be perfect. Perfect if you were a perfect size 8 with small busts with a drum-tight stomach. Or if you don't have knock knees. Now, a nude body stocking would be pretty fine. But not many of us would look too fine with a nude body stocking. In fact, we gals who adore fashions, wonderful to adore them. But really, only when it works for us, right? In fact, we should all have a little box in the back of our closet that says, in bold letters, it didn't work. The disenchanters from a man's point of view. Well, the point is, just who are you trying to please? Do you want to be chic or pretty, or do you dress for a man or woman? And really, gals, I guess I'm old-fashioned enough to think that you really have to decide. You have to know, well, just exactly who is this person you're trying to please. Do you want to look absolutely divine, absolutely great, or is it important to you that your friend, who might be a nightgown editor of a fashion magazine, thinks of you as rather with it? Well, actually, sometimes chic and prettiness go together, but more often they don't. In fact, along with others, I suspect that some of the fashion designers and hairdressers are out to rather crop us down and crop out all the sensuousness in a girl. You have to look at yourself in the mirror, take that hard, scrutinizing look, and decide just exactly what it is that you want your image to be. Images are pretty important. You have to set and establish your image, then impress it deeply into his mind. Now, gals, this goes for a husband, We're not talking just single girl lingo. Now, if your image should be a changeable one, and that's all right, the girl in many moods, fine. But you have to make it real clear right in the very beginning so he knows exactly what to expect. You can't really underestimate the power of this image, no matter who says what. Men do notice details, and I'm sure this has happened to you. They don't observe maybe what you expect them to observe. You come marching in from the BX with your new dress, trying to show it off in the living room, and your husband says, "Oh, I thought you went to the commissary today." Or you just pierce your ears for that new wild thing, and the child that's sitting in the lovely blue chair happens to pull at one of your new earrings. I mean, these can be problems, and people just don't notice these fun things. But actually, when you have a new dress or a hairstyle, that shouldn't worry you. But you mustn't be too surprised when, out of nowhere, he suddenly asks, "Oh, you used to have a sort of a gray-green sweater. I like that color on you. You ought to wear it more often." The only rub is that the color, of course, was Nile green. The sweater had years on its shoulders, and he never said it liked it until you wore it, and then you gave it to the thrift shop. Now, this can be a problem. So, gals, I offer you these suggestions. There are a few proved sensuals that you should own. You might even take this down, just jot it down while you're sipping on that good old cup, of a few basic sensuals. David, there is nothing more glamorous than a black see-through. Perhaps I better qualify that. But don't you think that in itself would be good?
I'm afraid to comment.
And on a Tuesday morning at that. No, a black see-through dress. Well, now really, gals, it should never be low cut. Definitely cover up. The higher the better. In fact, a black see-through ending in a turtleneck is a 4-star plus. Do you believe that? Infallible, really. A black see-through blouse. Now, it should have long, flowing sleeves caught at the cuff with miniature buttons. Gals, I don't think you believe me out there. These things really turn men on. Oh, and talking of buttons, those tiny old-fashioned ones, rows and rows of them? Well, that's another recommended way to score.
Really?
And I'm planning to just go and find every button imaginable, cover myself with buttons. No, really, they affect men in the strangest way. The little ones, they puzzle them. Now, wouldn't you be puzzled with a little button, David?
I'd be puzzled.
I won't even go into that. No, it's usually quite the forerunner of a deeper emotion. Now, wouldn't that be true? And quite naturally, buttons make men want to, well, we won't even complete that.
I think you're trying to say it's going to make them
David.
want to unbutton it, right? Now,
David,
that's the
you
idea.
said it. You said it, and I did, and I'm glad. So if you're in need of a brand new impact idea, why not try something like a row of tiny little buttons running up and down the back of a black see-through, and get ready for action, girls. Now, have you got that down? Oh, and one little thing I just have to interject. Did you know that you should always put perfume at the back of your knees? And David's laughing. Actually, I just spilled my whole bottle of perfume when I was trying to put it on the back of my knee, and it didn't even work. Really, gals, and you should know, I hope you do know, that nothing quite kindles a man's emotion more quickly and effectively than that little girl look. with the slightly mussed hair, who's lost in the real man-size shirt, sweater, or better yet, pajama tops. Now I ask you, David, what would be finer? And don't you answer this? Than to come home from a hard day's work and find your wife prancing around the living room in pajama tops. Well, I can think of nothing. But, I've always had trouble because of my proportions. I just don't look quite lost in a pajama top. Perhaps I need a smaller pajama top. Well, anyway. Need I say more, girls, to indicate why you should take an occasional stroll to a men's store, preferably the BX, look at those pajama-sized tops, or a V-neck sweater, extra large, really large, bulky also, really better than any sort of a new cocktail dress. Now, I have 12 other sensual wearables. I'll only mention a few, really, but they help convey that femininity and helplessness that so many of us don't really possess. I don't look very helpless, do I? It's because of that John Atlas course I took when I was 10. That's the whole problem.
All those
No, really.
Stay away from the now, Jim.
I know. Actually, girls, one thing that really turns men on is feathers. The witty ostrich-type feathers, or slightly sinful floor-length sheer floats, like if he likes Las Vegas, this would really turn him on. Or fabrics that kind of rustle in the dark, and hopefully he'll have perfect pitch, and he'll hear you rustling, and you can just rustle now till doomsday. But he likes it. He does, David. You're looking at me like an absolutely nutty. Or a super short lace slip with slits. Now, this would be, of course, strictly for the Bridget Bardot fan, or if he's the least bit Italian, the same as before with maybe longer slits. Or how about a blouse with blossoms everywhere if he's the back-to-nature sort? Or even a slightly messy hairdo with bangs if your husband's a Bardot fan. Are you a Bardot fan?
Very
Well, if you were a
yes.
Libra, of course, you would have to be a Bardot fan. Or plus a triple amount of perfume. Just don't get carried away. Remember, to the back of the knee. Actually, girls, about anything, and I would suggest we work on the nude body stocking with the crochet dress over it. And I'm game for that.
I'm kind of partial to the pajama tops myself.
Are you?
But that's pretty... With rows of buttons.
David.
Guys, what we ought to do is we'll check in with Dear Abby. That's our regular feature on
Oh,
Tuesday.
she could help us, David.
And see what she has that's pretty interesting to say. And then we'll have a little bit more music.
Okay.
This is Dear Abby, and we'll try to solve the problem of a generous neighbor and the trouble she's caused.
Abby, our first letter for today comes from Bloomington, Indiana, and it says, I have a sweet little neighbor whose feelings I wouldn't hurt for the world. She's always making me little gifts which I cannot use, like crocheted doilies and centerpieces which have been out of style for years. Also, she decorates cheap little ceramic ashtrays, candy dishes, and figurines. And you should see the wild colors that she uses, purples and oranges and lots of gold. She frequently drops in to visit, so I must keep her gifts out where she can see them or she'll be hurt. Please tell me how to get around this problem. My house is beginning to look like the Five and Dime. Signed, Hates to Hurt.
Dear Hates to Hurt, just tell your neighbor you appreciate her thoughtfulness and generosity, but you already have more of her gifts than you can possibly use. But if you love and respect her, do keep a few samples of her handiwork around just for her to see.
From Dayton, Ohio. Dear Abby, when I was 19, I married a man who was 27, and we were so much in love that we never thought we'd have any problems. We've been married 2 years, and I'm miserable. He's a professional man, and I never got past the 9th grade. He's always correcting my English and has even suggested that I go to night school and graduate. Abby, I feel that he thinks I'm not good enough for him. If he loved me as I was, why is he ashamed of me now? What should I do? Signed, Miserable.
Dear Miserable, get in touch with your public education system and resume your schooling. It can be done by mail or in evening classes with other adults. Your husband loves you, or he wouldn't encourage you to graduate. There is no shame in not knowing, only in refusing to learn.
This is Harry Bartell saying, listen to Dear Abby.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep.
A little bit of Journey to the Moon there. That's
rather wild.
the Genesis Brothers or something like that. It's,
David, I have to tell you this.
What?
I have to tell you. Do you know that today is Wart Clinic?
Wart
Clinic at the hospital.
Wart
From
Clinic.
this afternoon. Yes, gals, if you have warts and you know they are created by a virus, you better get to Wart Clinic.
Meg.
And they're catching, David.
Meg.
You know that if you hang around with people with warts, you're liable to end up with warts.
Meg,
Yes.
What brought that up?
Well, I was thinking of exotic things, and what can be more exotic than a wart?
Getting close to Halloween, I guess you're right.
Yes.
So wart clinic is today in the
Yes,
hospital.
I think you have to call for an appointment, but it's really groovy to step in line at wart clinic. Even if you don't have any warts.
I wonder if they have an athlete's foot clinic, too.
Well, maybe we can get one started. Do you think?
That'd be
That would also be groovy.
Wart clinic. All right, any of you guys who don't want to miss wart clinic today. Wonder who carries that?
Who carries it? Well, people carry it.
No, I
Toads
mean,
do, too.
who's the... I don't mean who is the doctor in charge of the wart clinic?
I believe it's the site surgeon, but I wouldn't be quoted on that, especially when all of us flock in today for wart clinic. And he says, I've never seen a wart in my life. But he wouldn't say that.
No, you better not. Guy Sharuni, wart clinics and everything, that kind of takes care of us for Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And all kinds. What are you doing tomorrow?
I'm not telling. It'll be a surprise. It will be a surprise.
It'll be a surprise to you, too, right?
No. We have some good things planned tomorrow.
Good. Well, that'll be a switch. No, I'm kidding.
You're funny.
Yes, I know. All right, tomorrow is Wednesday, and we're going to have the Wednesday morning show right here, and we hope you'll be listening. By the way, we haven't mentioned this for a few days, and I want to be sure and do it today. If you have any special helpful hints from around Wheelus, I mean, those of you who've lived here for a while, and you've discovered how to do any kind of special thing, that has to do with the local area, or some sort of local dish you'd like to cook, drop the idea by AFRTS, which is Building 803, and we'll be glad to share it with all the other ladies on the morning show.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes for any special announcements about your club, organization, and everything. We'll be glad to spread the word around.
Clinic. I mean, really, just think of all the
After
business
all,
we're drumming up over there at the wart clinic.
If we can get words on about the wart clinic, anybody can be on. That's Tuesday. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.